Running and growing a creative business can be hard, especially when you are doing it on your own. But the good news is you don't have to do it alone. Collaborating with other artists is one of the best things you can do for your creative business for so many reasons. So, today we are going to talk about why you should be collaborating if you are not already, or more if you are, some ideas for collaborations, how to run a collaboration, what expectations to set, how to make the most of a collaboration, and so much more. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to Brand Your Passion, the show that helps you turn the thing you love the most into the thing people know and love you for. If you're an artist or maker who is ready to get more eyes on your work, more engagement in your audience, and more creativity in your life, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Holly Arnett, the brand strategist and coach for creatives, and it's time to brand your passion. Okay, before we get started, I am obviously a big fan of collaborations, but let me tell you why you need to become collaboration's biggest fan as well. So there are so many reasons why collaborations are so good for you as an artist, as a creative, as a business owner. There are like unlimited reasons why collaborations are good. And so I'm going to tell you a whole bunch of them now. So number one is just supporting other artists, right? Hopefully, if you are listening to this episode, you are on the same page as I am, and that, there is enough love to go around, right? That we don't have to be about competition. We can be about collaboration and about cheering each other on, celebrating each other, and seeing what we can do to support one another. So collaborations are a great way to do that. It's like, hey, how can I help you? How can I do something that will, we can work together and support each other? That we can do a piece of work together or something to promote one another that will combine our expertise and our audiences and all the things that we can do to support one another. So number one is just that it is a great way to support your fellow artists and to work together to support each other, cheer each other on, show that we are community, collaboration, celebration above competition. So that's number one. Number two, it is a great way to carry that on to make friends and connections. So obviously sometimes it is a little bit difficult to just reach out and be like, hey, do you want to be my friend? Especially as an adult, it's like so hard to make friends. But collaborating is a great way to do that. There are so many people that I have reached out to and been like, hey, I would love to do something with you in this weird and wonderful small business creative world that we have going on. Would you be keen? I would love to work with you in some way to make that happen. And we have loved working together and doing something like that. And we've gotten to know each other so well through that process and just become such great friends. And so collaborating, doing something like that is such a great way to make connections, to make friends, to build your community of people who support you, who love you, who will cheer you on. And so making friends and connections is a great reason to collaborate. Number three is to combine your creativity. We are so good on our own. We have so many creative ideas, but there is something magical that happens when we combine our creativity with other people. Sometimes we work alone so much that we can get stuck in our own ways. We can get stuck using the same tools or the same brushes or the same patterns or whatever it is, the same colors, all those types of things, that it is so nice sometimes to work with someone else and see their creativity and see how your creativity can combine with them and bring them together and see what magic happens. So collaborating with somebody else, combining your creativity is really fun. Seeing what comes out of it is really cool. So I love that about collaborating. The next one, number 4, I think we were up to, is the combined reach of a collaboration. Obviously, 2 audiences adds up. So if you have 1,000 people, for example, they have 1,000 people, you combine that, you are now reaching 2,000 people. That's just math, baby. So if you have something you want to get out into the world, they have something they want to get out into the world, or together you have something you want to get out into the world, then combining that thing and sharing that with some people is a really smart idea. So if you want to reach more people, then combining your audiences is a really, really cool way to do that. Number 5, and the reason a lot of people do collaborations, is that you reach a new audience of people. So if you get in front of their audience, that is often a new group of people that have never seen your work before or have never heard your name before. But because this new person is collaborating with you, they are hopefully endorsing you and vouching for you. They trust you. They are putting you in front of their audience. So that often means that then their audience is like, oh, cool. That must mean that you are cool and that your work is cool, and they are, keen to check out your work. And so it gets your work in front of a whole new audience. So that is a great reason to check out collaborating. Number 6 is the potential new opportunities that can come from a collaboration. So collaborations don't end at the collaboration. You never know what is going to happen after a collaboration. So you could work with someone, and that one collaboration could turn into a whole partnership, or you could publish that and then someone else could see that collaboration and that could turn into a whole thing. Like, there are so many opportunities or possibilities that could come from one collaboration. So the potentials are endless. Collaborations, that is a great reason to collaborate, is those new opportunities, the potential that could come from that one collaboration. Number 7 is just not being alone. As I said, we work alone often as solo creatives, solo business owners, solopreneurs, whatever you want to call us. We are often alone, squirreling away in our studios. Sometimes we work in co-working spaces or like studio spaces, whatever. But working with someone else is sometimes just really nice. Even if it's just like a little collaboration, or working with someone like once a week on something that you're working on over a period of time, just working with someone on something and not being alone is really nice. So that is a small benefit of collaborating with someone, is just like having someone to work with and not being alone, and having someone to talk to and share things with and collaborate with something on, and it's just really nice. The next thing is trying new things. As I said, like combining creativity, but collaborating really encourages you to try new things, because there are so many ways that you can do a collaboration. There are so many ways that you can promote a collaboration. There are so many things that you can do to collaborate. And so it's a really great opportunity and an encouragement to try new things. And often the person that you are working with maybe does things a different way to you, or maybe just like the way they do things behind the scenes in their business is different. So it just really does encourage you to try new things. So that is a great benefit to collaborating. And last but not least, it's just really fun. So I think that a great benefit to collaborating is just that it's something different, right? We do the same thing a lot of the time in our business. We're so heads down, like doing the ins and out of our business, making things happen. We have to do that, right? To make our business work, to make it survive. And so doing something different, trying something new, working with someone new, it's fun. So collaborating is fun. I love that about collaborating. So that's a great benefit for me. So those are a bunch of reasons why I think collaborating is one of the best things you can do for your business. Hopefully that's convinced you that if you want to support other artists, make some great friends, combine your creativity, get some amazing reach new audiences, get some potential new opportunities, not be alone, try some new things and have some fun, then hopefully you're on board. Okay, I want to tell you about a few collaborations that I have done and how they have helped us and me as a creative, to show you just some examples of how you might think about this and how it could help you as a creative. When I first started as a creative, one of the first collaborations that I did was a combined exhibition. So I did a show as a hand lettering artist, and I was part of a combined show. So instead of doing a solo show, which is a lot of work, fill a whole art gallery with only your work and promote it all by myself and do all of the work. Instead, I shared that with a whole group of people. We filled the gallery between us. I think there were about 5 of us. And we brought in more people to the opening and the entire exhibition because there were more of us, right? So instead of me just bringing, say, 100 people, um, for example, 5 of us brought 500 people. Okay, so that was a great example of how instead of me doing all of the work and filling one entire gallery and bringing 100 people, I shared the load and filled the gallery with 5 people and brought 5 times the people to the gallery show. So that is one example. Another example is collaboration videos or what we used to call YouTube collabs on my YouTube channel. So I used to do a lot of YouTube videos. You can go and check out my YouTube channel if you want to go and watch a lot of those old YouTube vlogs and things. But I used to do collab videos on my YouTube channel. What was great about these is that they helped me reach new audiences as we both promoted the video, right? So this is the same now as collab Instagram posts. So if you collaborate on the Instagram post, or if you do an Instagram live together, or a podcast episode, or something like that, we are both on something together, you can both promote that piece of content together, and it helps you reach a new audience because you both get in front of a new audience together. Another example is collaborating with another designer on a brand together. So actually collaborating on a piece of work together. So I collaborated with another designer on a brand, and we got to create something completely different than I would have created on my own, because they brought their own unique talents and skills and art direction and ideas and thoughts and creativity to the project that I didn't have, right? And I brought mine. And so combined, we created something really special and really unique that we wouldn't have done separately. So that's another example of the type of collaboration that you could do. And another example is that recently, Lauren, who I had on the podcast, we did a podcast swap. So that's another example, is doing, something we swap with another business owner. And that was an example where I tried something new and again reached new people because, we swapped audiences, we reached new audiences, and we reached probably a bigger audience than we would have before, because we swapped, we tried something new. I'd never done a podcast swap before. I don't know if Lauren had either. I don't think so. And so we both tried something new by collaborating and being creative together and giving it a go. So there was 4 examples, 4 different ways that I've collaborated, but have all benefited me, all benefited all the other people in the collaborations too. So not just me. And all of these different things, I've just given it a go and tried it, and seen how it worked, if it worked, and seen if I liked it, if I didn't like it, and just being open to how these collaborations can work for me as a creative. other ways that you could collaborate as an artist. So I think there are three main ways that you can collaborate as artists. So number one is that you can collaborate on art itself. So maybe you could collaborate on a zine or like on a piece of art itself, like a big painting or a sculpture or a mural or, a collection of fashion or a full collection of like prints and stickers and all of that kind of stuff. So you can collaborate on art itself. So if you want to collaborate on a project together and release products or a piece of art, that is one way that you could collaborate with another artist, I think, is collaborating on art itself. Number two is that you can collaborate on teaching what you know. So if you and another artist want to collaborate on teaching other artists or teaching other creatives, you could teach actually practically what you do. So maybe like if you are a ceramicist, you can teach other people how to make ceramics, or you can teach aspects of being an artist, right? So, how to market your art, or how to make money from your art, or like all of these different aspects to being an artist, right? So, you could collaborate on things like a practical workshop, like the ceramics workshop or like those types of things, or you could make a collaborative ebook together or run a webinar together or go on a podcast together, or like all of these types of teaching are ways that you could collaborate as well. And then the third kind of bucket, I think, is you can collaborate on marketing. So promoting each other, sharing each other's work, just generally hyping each other up and getting each other's work out there. So that again could look like podcasts or like Instagram lives or content around each other's work, or just generally like sharing and promoting each other. So, yeah, those are a few ideas of how you can collaborate with each other. So, those are the general ways that I would start thinking about how you can collaborate with other artists. So, do you want to collaborate on art? Do you want to collaborate on teaching? Do you want to collaborate on marketing and promoting each other? That's some ideas of how I think you can start collaborating with each other. So now let's start talking about how do you actually do this collaboration, right? I think this is the sticky part that people are like, oh, okay, well, how do I do this, right? And how do I do it right? Because there are a lot of questions and a lot of like technical things about like, well, how do you split the money, or how do you reach out to that person, or how do you do all of these things? So let's talk about it. First things first, you want to reach out to the person you want to collaborate with. So, ideally, this is going to be someone that you've at least engaged with before, because it's unlikely that someone is going to want to engage with you or collaborate with you if they've never seen your name before. It can be worth a try, like reaching out to them on DMs or something. If you haven't talked to them before, you probably want to have at least like been following them for a while. Maybe you've been like liking their posts or reacting to like stories and stuff like that. Like you need to have been in each other's worlds for a while, I think, or you at least been in their world, so that they might recognize your photo or like something like that. Because I think just reaching out of the blue, if they've never seen you, might be just a little bit unlikely. At this point, I would say that if you don't think that there's anyone that you've met yet that you would want to collaborate with, or that you think would collaborate with you, or that you think that you even are at that level with, see if you think that there's any online or local like networking opportunities where you could meet people like that, or maybe start engaging with those kinds of people online. So think about your goals. Do you want to like reach more customers? Do you want to break into a new industry? Do those customers, or does that industry or something, do they host events? Is there an online membership for those type of people? Is there a local community? Like start thinking about where those people are and what your goals are, and engaging with those types of people, and maybe networking and connecting with those people. And that's how you'll start starting to make those connections. And that's how you will get to that place where hopefully you'll have at least that initial connection with those people, where you could feel like you'd be in that place where you could reach out to them to see if they want to collaborate with you. So when you do, you want to make sure that it's someone who makes sense, right? So someone who's doing complementary work to yours. So that could either be the same as you or not the same as you, but it complements yours, right? So with Lauren, for example, a recent one who I collaborated with, right? So Lauren and I both work with creatives, but we don't do the exact same thing. So we have a slightly different approach to what we do, or a slightly different like niche, but we work with the same people. So that works really well because we're not like directly competing with each other, but we complement each other. On the opposite side of things, you might do the exact same thing but with different people or something like that, right? So think about what your goals are and whether your work or your audiences complement each other. Do they have the same values to you? Does their audience align with yours, or is it a similar audience but not exactly the same people? You want to ideally make sure it's like similar audience or same audience but not exactly the same people, because otherwise if the exact same people follow you, then you're not really getting the benefit of like reaching new audiences or double the audience because it's just the same people. So just think about that. So make sure you're choosing somebody who makes sense, to somebody who complements your work, the similar values, all of those things. So when you reach out to them, you can either be direct and say like, hey, I'm Holly and I'm reaching out to you because I really want to collaborate with you. I've had this idea. I want to know if you're keen. Let me know. Blah, blah, blah. That can be one approach. Or like if you're just already talking to them, it could be as simple as just being like, oh, by the way, like I reckon we should collaborate. What do you reckon? It can be as simple as that. Or we should work on something together. Like, what do you think? It depends how well you know them. If you're talking to them already, like that you'll be able to gauge how direct or casual it needs to be. So that will depend on that relationship already. If you are kind of worried about pitching a collaboration idea to somebody who's like more experienced or well known than you are, or you're just like worried in general about reaching out to people, then just know that like the worst that they can do is not reply or say no. I have reached out to so many podcast guests and I have been so surprised by how many of them have said yes. And the others have either just not replied or they've said no. Like I'm busy, or I'm not doing podcast requests right now, or like thank you but no. So just shoot your shot. You never know what will happen, and yeah, the worst that they will do is not reply or just say no. Another amazing designer and podcaster, Liz Mosley, her podcast is called Building Your Brand, has a challenge called the Rejection Challenge, where she puts herself out there for this kind of thing and encourages other people to do it too, because the whole idea is like rejection isn't bad. It's a sign that you are putting yourself out there and that you're trying to build your brand and build your business, and you're giving it a go. So highly recommend trying and checking out Liz's Rejection Challenge. But the main idea is like, try not to worry about putting yourself out there and pitching yourself and like pitching ideas, right? The main idea is that you're having ideas, you're putting yourself out there, you're giving it a go. So that's the main idea. Next is you want to plan your collaboration. So once you've reached out, they've said yes, they're on board, they're like, oh my God, yes, I would love to work with you on something, let's do it. You are going to want to choose something, some kind of collaboration that works to your strengths, that appeals to your audiences, that aligns with your businesses, and that fits in with your capacity. So those are kind of the main things you want to think about. So works to your strengths, you want to think about like, what are we both really good at? So say you both hate video, don't decide to make a YouTube video together. But if you're really good at hosting workshops and teaching people how to do what you do do that. Same with like if your audience don't listen to podcasts, or they're not like in your local area, don't run a local workshop, for example. So think about these things, think about what aligns with your businesses, and think about what fits in with your capacity. Very important. So you are a very busy business owner, so don't try and do something that's way out of your reach and like way beyond what you have the time and the energy and the capacity to do. And very importantly, make sure that you both feel like whatever you choose benefits you both equally. So, say for example, like I ask Lauren to be on my podcast, like that sometimes is great because I'm like, you are a guest on my podcast and I am them therefore promoting you. But then sometimes it's like, okay, well, I will also be on your podcast. Like we did the podcast swap, right? Or you might just make sure that like whatever you're doing, there's a benefit for both of you, because then it's fair and you both feel happy and you both feel like we're both getting something out of this. There's a give and a return, like a give and a get. There's a return for both of you. Then in planning, you also want to figure out when you're going to make it happen. So are you doing it next week, next month, next quarter, next year? Like when are you doing this? When do you want to make it happen? When are you both free? When fits in with your lives, your businesses, your year? Like when is going to work? So that is the next plan. Then we want to set some clear expectations. So there are some things that are important to outline when it comes to a collaboration. So number one is assigning who will do what. So again, with this, you want to make sure both parties, both people feel like whatever you are doing, the workload is fair and balanced. So, especially if it is like a project you're both working on together, you want to make sure that one person doesn't feel like they are doing all the work and one person is doing nothing, just like a group project in school. Right? We've probably all had horror stories when it comes to that, so we don't want a repeat of that. Set it from the beginning, make sure your expectations are clear on who is doing what, and that you are both happy. You also want to make sure you set up any like communications and systems that you might need to make it happen, like task management, things like, are you going to use Notion to track your tasks? Who's going to manage that? Are you going to communicate via email or WhatsApp or Slack or whatever? And also make sure you agree on how and when you're going to do that and when you're going to work on it. So, for example, does it not matter when you work on it as long as your tasks are done by the due date, or do you need to work on it together for an hour a week? For example, like I'm just going to keep using the example of Lauren and I's collaboration. I'm sure she won't mind. But like for that, it didn't matter when we did it as long as the tasks were done by the due date, right? Because it wasn't a like full project we were working on together. We were just doing a podcast swap and we both individually did our like sides of the swap. So for like my podcast, I did my side of things and I sent my things to Lauren when she needed them. But we didn't need to like jump on calls or anything at certain times to work together on certain things. But if you were like launching a product together or a course together or something like that, or a new business together, you are probably going to want to work together at certain times or have like make sure that you are working to deadlines and all those things. And it's going to require more commitment and more time, and you want to make sure that you are agreeing on that and make sure the expectations are clear. So it just depends on the level of collaboration, and how much commitment you need and all of those things. So you just got to agree and make sure you're on the same page. And obviously, collaborations can sometimes, again, depending on what type, take a lot of time, depending on what they are. So you want to make sure it's not going to detract too much from your own work while making sure you give it the time that it itself needs. So make sure you talk about like how and when are we working on this and what are those expectations. Next, you want to decide how you are going to handle the finances if that is relevant. Are you going to pay them as like a thank you for being a part of whatever you're doing? Are you going to be splitting the money if you're going to be making money from it? How are you going to be splitting it? Is it going to be fully even? If you need to put money into something, how are you going to be doing that? You need to talk about the money if there is money involved. So do that from the beginning. Make sure it's clear. And my next step, especially if there's money involved, is that you might need to consider putting an agreement or a contract in place. So, especially if there's money involved, definitely consider that. And the next point is to decide how you're going to combine your brands during this collaboration. So, my favorite part. Obviously, visually, you want to make sure that things come together. So, if you both have bold brands as creatives, you're going to be probably having a lot of like creative things coming together, and it might be a bit difficult to figure out how to do that and how to bring them together when you collaborate. But you want to still make sure that it's consistent and maybe it has its own like mini identity for whatever you are collaborating on. So if the collaboration isn't like its own separate brand, like a new business or like a course or like something like that, like a new program or whatever, then what I recommend doing is seeing if your brands have some colors that work together well. It might not be and probably won't be all of both of your colors, but it might be like one of your colors and a couple of theirs or something, and using those to create a combined color palette that's like a simplified but cohesive combination of all of yours, both of yours, and then just using a simple font that would work across both. So that's how I would recommend combining your brands, but definitely make sure you consider how you're going to do that before you have a bit of a clash of like, well, I want to use my brand this and I want to use my brand this, and how are we going to do that, and blah, blah, blah. You want to make sure you have a good, cohesive plan for how you're going to bring them together. You also want to determine how you are going to measure success. Is it going to be the money you make, the audience growth you have, how many downloads you get? Like, what is it going to be? You want to make sure that you are aligned on what success looks like individually. So for you, what does it look like, so that you know whether you want to pursue similar collaborations in the future, and together, so that you're on the same page about this particular collaboration and its progress, right? This also really helps if this collaboration doesn't go as well as you hoped it would. So if you didn't make a bunch of money, for example, but your metric for success was that you got out into your community and you both met some new people to get your work in front of, then that's okay. That's a win, right? So you want to make sure that you have decided and you've agreed on what is our measurement of success. What are we aiming for? What is the goal? And then you're both on the same page. And that's great. And then obviously you want to execute this collaboration, make it happen, follow through on all your plans. Tick, tick, it's going to be great. And then you want to share and promote the collaboration and get it out there into the world. So last but not least, let's talk about how you want to make the most of this collaboration. First and foremost, keep it fun. Obviously, we've talked about a lot of practical, technical, kind of boring things. But remember, this is all about collaborating, community, working together, trying new things, being creative. So keep it fun. Prepare as much as you can and use systems to your advantage. So like if you're launching something, or you're sharing this new thing into the world, then prepare as much as you can, get as much stuff done as in advance as much as you can, and use like systems and templates and task planning as much as you can. It will really help you, especially in like splitting tasks between you and all of that sort of stuff. And then you want to obviously promote it as much as possible, because collaborations are so good at making the most of like two audiences. You want to take advantage of that. So make sure that you are doing all that you can to do that. So cross promote between the both of you, use both and all of your platforms. Utilize the features on those platforms that allow you to collaborate, like Instagram's like collaborative posts, or tagging each other in different platforms, so you make sure you're sending people to each other's profiles as much as you can, like reposting TikToks, or like remixing reels, like all of that type of stuff you can do and collaborate with each other. There's so much stuff you can do. You want to also think creatively about how you can promote it. So again, we want to do as much as we can to make the most of this. So could you get featured in like different publications because you're collaborating and doing this really cool thing? Could you sponsor a newsletter spot? Could you put it in your local community newsletter? Like, there are so many different things you could try. So get creative. Combine your brains to get creative, and see what you can do to really get it out there. And then you want to think about how you could maybe, if you liked it, turn this one-off collaboration into an ongoing partnership. Because if people liked it, they enjoyed seeing you both work together, and you both had a good time, you want to keep it going. Could you build momentum and build upon what you created and keep that relationship going? Think about how you could turn that one collaboration into maybe something even bigger if you wanted to. So you could do the same thing again. Or maybe if you did like a workshop, for example, could you make that into an evergreen workshop that people could buy all the time? Or maybe you could turn that one workshop into a full course, or a podcast, or a workshop series, or like so many different things. So you could turn one collaboration into an ongoing partnership if you wanted to. It doesn't just have to be like a one and done thing. How do you keep that relationship going and keep supporting each other? Okay, this has been a longer episode than usual, so I'm going to stop talking, but I hope this has been helpful. I hope that we have covered like why you should be collaborating. I've given you some examples of how I have done some collaborations and how they have helped me and the people I've collaborated with. I've given you some examples of the types of collaborations you could do and walked you through how to do a collaboration yourself and how to make the most of the collaborations you do put into action. So the next steps I would love for you to do this week are, I would love for you to think about what your collaboration goals are. So do you want to like grow your audience, maybe break into a new industry? Do you want to make some more money? Do you want to connect with your community? What is your goal? Then I want you to make a list of 5 people that you want to collaborate with this year based on that goal, and reach out to one of them this week. Just one. Just reach out to one this week. And then come and tag me on Instagram and tell me you've done it. And I would love to see that. And I will see you next week. And as always, be creative. And I will see you next time. Bye! Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Brand Your Passion. If you enjoyed this one, it would mean the world to me if you could share it on social media and make sure to tag me at Maker and Moxie so that I can see and share it too. It really does help to get the show out there, which means that we can all work towards that Maker and Moxie vision of making the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. Thanks so much in advance, and I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, keep creating.